Past few mod reviews that I've done on this channel have honestly taken it out of me a little bit. I'm tired, I've used my brain a lot, and I need a rest. In the words of a white girl in their 20s, I need a little sweet treat. And today's little sweet treat is the Crimson Berry Desserts mod. This mod, I was scrolling through the Steam Workshop page a couple of nights ago when I was really hungry. I saw this mod and I was immediately salivating, looking for my next meal. So let's get into things and start with the content. So let's start with the content of the Steam Workshop page. Now, if you were not hungry before watching this video, you will be by the time we get into things. So the Steam Workshop page thumbnail is honestly really good. This is what caught my eye originally. I love the color scheme here and I love the graphics used, and the rest of the photos also show some context for how we make things. And then getting into the bulk of things, we have a description, we have pictures of what's added into the mod. Now, very interestingly, whilst I really like the graphics here, like I think these are sublime, they're perfection, literal art, this isn't all the content that's in this mod. A small drawback of this Steam Workshop page is that all the content that's in this mod isn't actually listed. A small thing, I know, but I would like to see just a little bit more here. So what sweet treats have we got and what do they look like in game? This mod adds six brand new sweet treats, and all of them are extremely delectable and very tasty. Starting with the parfait, lemon cream toast, strawberry sweet roll, fruit tart, berry delight, and the Oreo cupcake. So we have a nice little range of desserts here for you to try in game. So what happens when we actually eat one of these little sweet treats? Now, obviously, in real life, if we have a little sweet treat, it makes us smile and makes us feel better about ourselves. This is kind of true for this in game. Now, very interestingly, these sweet treats are treated as drugs. Now, obviously, they're not luciferium and they're not yayo, but these are theoretically classed as recreational drugs. Therefore, every time we eat a little sweet treat, we do get a recreation bonus percentage. So we are actually getting some bonuses here, and we're also getting a mood bonus. Now, the mood bonus obviously makes sense, right? We have our sweet treat, it makes us feel better. We have a nice luxury dessert. Yeah, of course, there's a little extra bonus there for our mood. Now, very interestingly, I've got every single dessert here lined up, and when I go get to my colonist to actually try eat all of them, one of them is a teetotaler. Now, in Rimworld, a teetotaler cannot have any drugs or anything. They cannot also have a sweet treat. Small thing I would like to be changed, honestly, within this mod. It's a little bit of a barrier for if you've got a colonist as a teetotaler. I think they're allowed desserts generally. But when they do eat the desserts, every single one of them gains a mood benefit, ranging all the way from a +4 in mood all the way to a +10 in mood. And then obviously, because I said that these are kind of social recreational drugs, yes, we can theoretically add them to a schedule and have our colonists carry around a parfait or a berry delight in their pocket and to pop them whenever they feel a little bit sad, just like with normal drugs. So that's going to be it for the content section here, and for a very small little mod that's just adding a few sweet treats, I really like what's going on here. I like the individuality of it, and I like the almost artisanal presence that's here. You can almost see that a almost chef or somebody that's really interested in food has created this mod. This isn't just basic profiteroles and basic Victoria sponge sandwich. We have parfaits, actually unique and interesting desserts. This isn't anything that's a copy and paste of anything, and it's totally unique for that, and full credits for that. There are obviously a couple of issues here and there. I'd like every single dessert to be listed on the Steam Workshop page for very obvious reasons, and I'd also actually like to see a custom workbench to be able to make these individual desserts. Only being able to make them on the electric stove and the fuel stove, I get it, makes sense, obviously makes sense, but maybe to have a special chef's table, or maybe have some various linkables and things to make things an even more in-depth experience. But that's obviously asking quite a lot. So for content for me, I really like what's going on here. I would like a little bit more, and it is just 6 little sweet treats. So for content here, I'm going to be giving it a 7 out of 10. Next, let's move on and look at the quality of all the sweet treats added by this mod. Now, because there are only 6 items here, I am generally expecting the quality of every single thing here is going to be tip-top. Everything needs to be taken into account, and I'm expecting very high quality here. So let's start by zooming in on everything and see what they look like. So zooming in on everything, the art that's on display here is exquisite. This reminds me of when you watch like an anime or any old TV show and they zoom in on a carrot or a potato, and for some reason they slice in such a satisfying way. You just want to eat it. Raw, cooked, any form. It's just perfect. I've never seen artwork taken so seriously within Rimworld. It's amazing, and what I want to really highlight is the berry delight. This strawberry berry delight, all the strawberries, you zoom in and it's so, I want it in my mouth. Like I want it inside of me, one way or another. I want this mod inside of me. The artwork that's been done here is amazing. Now, following on from looking at the individual items here and showing how amazing the artwork is, looking further at the little details here, which I'm expecting for a mod that's only adding 6 items, all the added mood benefits all have individual descriptions, all the individual items have individual descriptions. Everything is unique, it's been cared for, it's been thought about. There's been so much love put into this. It's such a wholesome experience. This whole mod is like a dessert. It's really topping me off, pause, and it's making me feel better about myself. Like, it makes me happy thinking about this mod, talking about the items that have been put in here, and talking about the love and care that's gone into this. This is just, I'm speechless. I am genuinely speechless. So that's it for the quality section here, and there isn't very much on show. As I said at the beginning, I'm expecting very high quality here from not very many items, and by God, this has delivered. I am not joking when I say that these are the best looking items I have ever seen in Rimworld. It might just be because I'm hungry at the moment and I'm looking at them and I want to eat them, but it's too good for Rimworld. That's the problem though. It's too good for Rimworld. If you've watched my previous mod reviews, you'll know that my preference when it comes to the quality of the textures of items added to Rimworld is that they look like they're almost vanilla, but with a slight difference to show that they're modded. That's just my preference. So the items that have been added by this mod, their artwork, I love them to pieces, but it doesn't necessarily fit Rimworld. So if you're going to be playing with this mod and you want a mod that's going to be fitting in with the Rimworld style, this might not be it, unfortunately. Now, I am going to be giving the quality section here a 10 out of 10. It is a 10 out of 10. I can't not give it a 10 out of 10. But it has to be bared in mind that this mod doesn't necessarily fit in with the rest of the artwork of vanilla Rimworld. Next, let's move on and look at the balancing of all the sweet treats added by this mod. Now, initially, you'd probably think, oh, there's no way there's a balancing issue with a mod that adds parfaits, berry delights, and Oreo cupcakes. I also thought the same when I first downloaded this mod. I honestly thought, this is a bit of fun. I'm not going to have to use my brain too much. I can just go through, look at the pretty pictures, and just say this is an amazing mod. Until I read one part of the descriptions where it said that the item was worth a hefty price when sold. And that got me thinking, what actually is the value of every single item added by this mod, and how much is it all worth, and is there some issues here with the value of items and compared to how much it's going to cost to make them? And that is what we're going to start with. Let's go through and look at all the resource costs in order to make every single sweet treat, and then look at how much it costs to make them and what profit margins we're kind of looking at. So first, let's go through the resource cost in order to make every single one of these sweet treats. Every single sweet treat that's added by this mod costs 1.5 of milk, or 1.5 of berries, or 1.5 of rice. That is it. Obviously, this is all they're going to be rounded up to 2, so it is a 2 flat cost across the board. Apart from the Oreo cupcakes, which requires chocolate, which is 2 chocolate to 2 eggs. So it's very important to bear this in mind as we continue looking through this. So let's start with a parfait. The market value of the parfait once made is 72 silver. And when we look at the ingredient cost for the parfait, it comes to 2 chicken eggs or any other eggs worth 7 silver, and then 2 berries, which comes to 1.2 silver each, giving it the grand total cost of 16.4 silver per parfait. Next, we have the fruit tart, and once we make a fruit tart, this has a market value of 16. However, when you come to looking at the recipe for making a fruit tart, we actually get 5 fruit tarts for the amount of recipe we put in. Therefore, the total market value for 5 fruit tarts, which is what we're going to use, is going to be 80 silver. Now, the cost for making is going to be 16.4 once again. Next, the Berry Delight. Once made, this costs a market value of 68 silver, and once again has a cost to make of 16.4. And then the Strawberry Sweet Roll, this has a market value of 60, and then has a item cost to make of 16.4 once again. So all of the items that are added by this mod generally have quite a good market value. Now, obviously, in a trade deal, you're not going to get the exact market value. There will be some discrepancies depending on your trade or the situation, whether you're an ally or not, and there's a lot of things that you have to take into account. But what we'll be doing is just comparing the market value. That is it. So we're going to go through the list of every single item with its market value and how much it costs to make, and we're going to look at the profit and loss next. So a parfait with a silver cost of 72 minus the 16.4 item cost is 55.6 silver. A fruit tart with a cost of 5 per recipe is 80 minus 16.4 once again takes us to 63.6. The berry delight of a value of 68 silver minus 16.4 is 51.6. The Oreo cupcake for 2 per recipe equals 48 silver with a 20 material cost, leaving us with 28 silver left over. The lemon tart has a market value of 60 minus 4.8 only gives us 55.2 silver left over. And the strawberry sweet roll cost has a market value of 60 minus 16.4 gives us 43.6 silver remaining. Therefore, the fruit tart makes you the absolute most amount of money, and it costs the least amount of silver for what you're going to get out in terms of market value for the product at 63.6, then followed by the parfait, then closely behind it the lemon tart thing. So I think it's very interesting to note there is that unlike making drugs or anything, obviously this mod is making bakery items a very lucrative business. I don't disagree with that, but I shouldn't be making over 50 silver per one that we make, bearing in mind how easy it is to access rice, how easy it is to access berries, and how easy it could be to access eggs. Now, unfortunately, there is no barrier to entry in terms of skill. Despite it being a really, really good idea and a way to balance this out completely in terms of what we're actually getting out of it in terms of silver, it's not here. This would be a really good addition in my opinion and would pretty much completely balance out market value of the items made towards the actual resource cost there is. And whilst we do not have that barrier to entry and a reason why we cannot access it, it is a little bit on the more overpowered side as a result. Until then, I would definitely like to see a resource cost increase, maybe up to the level of what it is with the Oreo cupcakes, where we're only making a plus 20 silver profit, which does seem a little bit more fair. We need to increase the resource cost to at least be a little bit more, in my opinion. Next, let's quickly look at the actual mood buff that we're going to be getting once we eat a sweet treat. When we eat a parfait, we get a plus 6. When we have a lemon cream toast, we get a plus 4. When we have a strawberry sweet roll, we have a plus 5. And then when we eat a berry delight, which is also a plus 10. And this duplicates over to then the Oreo cupcakes as well for some reason. Now, I'm not necessarily opposed to the actual mood buff here. I think there should be a mood buff for eating a sweet treat, depending on the quality of it and depending on how long it takes to make. The barrier to entry of being skill, if there was one as well, I think the units we've got here for the buffs is good. What I don't appreciate is that they last a whole day. A whole day of this mood seems quite powerful. It would completely override pretty much any of the mood debuffs you're having from that individual day. And I kind of get it, like I do kind of get it, but I don't feel like it should be right. Maybe reduce this down to like 4 hours, 6 hours. So it's something that your colonists will almost be taking like a drug twice a day potentially. So overall, the balancing isn't very good. It's definitely quite an overpowered mod to be adding here, especially when we look at how much money we could be making from selling these items and how much mood our colonists can be getting for eating them at such a low cost. This is pretty much the definition of an overpowered mod. Now, obviously, this is a mod that adds 6 sweet treats. I mean, it's not the biggest deal and it's not the end of the world because it's not such a game-breaking thing. But it is overpowered, and I know that if I was running this mod in my playthroughs, I would be taking full advantage of it, and I wouldn't even bother making anything else that would make me money or anything else that would make my colonists happy. It totally replaces pretty much any food that you're going to be using, and pretty much replaces any form of money making with drugs or anything like that, which is definitely not the point. So in my opinion, balancing is not the best at the moment. We definitely need to work on that. Just make a barrier to entry here and have a skill requirement in order to make all the different types of desserts and everything, and I think that would be perfect. So for me, balancing, this is the definition of an overpowered mod that definitely needs some tweaking. So for balancing, I'm going to be giving it a 4 out of 10. Next, let's move on to compatibility. Are there any bugs I need to let you know about and how this fits with your playthroughs? Now, in terms of bugs, I had absolutely no issues whatsoever, and nor was I expecting any with a mod that's literally allowing me to craft sweet treats. There shouldn't be any bugs here whatsoever. Looking on the Steam Workshop page, no one has also reported any bugs, funnily enough. Then how this mod fit in with your playthroughs? Now, funnily enough, I don't think this mod will fit in with the tribal era. Something about Neanderthals eating parfaits and sweet rolls it doesn't really work. Whilst it would be funny and I think it could be a bit of a meme, it just doesn't really work. However, I do think that this mod will fit in perfectly in the medieval era, the industrial era, and the space era. At the end of the day, this is just a mod that adds food. And there's pretty much no way a food mod cannot fit in with a playthrough. However, I can potentially see you not using this mod if you're using a mod that's heavily into a certain theme, potentially, or a mod that is potentially going to be violent using CE, but this mod is also CE compatible. Not sure why, but that's also really nice. So overall, for compatibility, fits in with pretty much every playthrough. There's no bugs that I need to let you know about. I'm going to be giving this a very solid 8 out of 10. Next, let's move on and look at my mod recommendations to go with this mod. Now, very interestingly, I actually kind of struggled to find mods to fit with this mod. This mod is slightly too vague in what it does that I couldn't find mods to fit with it because it's going to sound weird. This mod fits with too many mods. There's no specific mod that this goes with. It just goes with everything, but I've done my best to recommend some mods based on that. Starting with the gastronomy, this one was a very obvious one for me, sell everybody loads of parfaits. Next, fashion rimster, because this has got some chef apparel in, which I think would go great with this. Next, tilled soil, so you can grow berries and rice quicker, great. Next, we've got rimstro, I really like the theming of this, so we can have a nice little cute cafe. And then lastly, the Hell Kitchen raid sound for when you want to hear Gordon Ramsay shouting in your ears. So yeah, all the mods I can recommend, all the mods that I can potentially think of, they're all very everywhere. There's no easy way to put what I'm trying to say into words. This mod's really, really good. I love the way that it fits in with everything, but because it just fits in with everything, there's nothing specific I can say, and that's making me mess up my words. So for my mod recommendation score, I'm very content at giving this an 8 out of 10. So now for my conclusion, where am I at with this? Generally speaking, I think the biggest thing that jumps out to me about this mod isn't the balancing, it isn't the lack of sweet treats, it's that whoever designed the items in this mod is wasting their time doing items in Rimworld. They should be out doing commissioned art for museums and galleries because the artistic ability is incredible. You should not be making mods and you should not be designing them because you are destined for so much more. And I mean this all in the nicest way possible, and I am so proud of what you have achieved in terms of your artistic brilliance. Other than that, this mod is really good. I really like all the sweet treats, and I think that it does add this artisanal sort of wholesome experience to my game, but the balancing is really off. And that is a big thing for me, and I think it's really going to affect the way people play this mod, and I think it's going to really affect the way that this is going to be treated in the future. It definitely needs to have some barriers to entries for the certain desserts that are definitely on the more powerful side. Either that or increase the resource cost and reduce the amount of market value that we're going to be getting, otherwise it's going to throw things off even more. So for content, I gave it 7 out of 10, quality 10 out of 10, balancing 4 out of 10, compatibility and mod recommendations 8 out of 10, giving it the grand total score of 37 out of 50, which is a solid B rating mod. So yes, I've given it a pretty good score, but would I recommend you guys try this mod out? At the moment, maybe not. It just seems way too powerful in my opinion. Yes, I know it's just a food mod, which is why I do also encourage you to check this out and see if it's balanced for you or not. For me, it's a little bit on the more overpowered side, and I'd love to see this to be nerfed just a little bit. But for you guys, it would probably be absolutely fine, and I'm just being a little bit of a sourpuss because I like vanilla Rimworld in the way it is. But don't listen to my opinions. Please make sure you check out this mod for yourself and generate your own opinions based on what you experience. So if you have enjoyed today's video, consider liking, subscribing, and make sure you tell your mum about me. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.